All right, Nick. This is more like it, my man.
Decent night. You
10-2. Almost everyone's gotten a hit.
Decent. I'm not really satisfied, but it is what it is.
Right. That's the angle you're going to take. I am a little concerned about the fact that we scored all of our runs in one game. But whatever. We got 10. That's good, right, chat?
Hey, that's 3 straight games with 5+ runs for your Cincinnati Reds.
Yep. And I also got to admit, might just be Kevin Newman after all.
The key to it all.
He is the nucleus. Listen, Kevin Newman, I'll say it up front. He looks like he's playing the game the way in which it was meant to be played.
He's the straw that stirs the drink.
Couldn't have said it better myself. You know what's wild is I got caught doing something with the kids, so I paused the game on my phone, and then I came back and hit play, and I started watching it, and I started watching it for so long that was, in my mind, that was the live version. And Kirby texts me, live top 9, ? And I was like, it's the bottom of the 7th or whatever. I think it was the top of the 8th. And I accidentally went on ESPN's app or something, and it popped up at the top, and it was like top 9, nobody out, nobody on. And I was like, oh, this game isn't going as long as I thought. I was thinking to myself, man, the pitch clock's not working tonight, but just turns out I was 30 minutes behind. But whatever. Here we are.
I did not get to see a whole lot of the game early. Had a T-ball this evening.
Did you?
But I kept getting mentions about Kevin Newman, so I knew things were going well.
Yeah.
That's when you know it's a good night.
Yeah. Well, Kevin Newman, he's a ball player. Good for him. Spencer Steer, also a ball player. Tyler Stevenson, we'll get into him.
I got a note on Tyler Stevenson.
Can't be late to the bag if you're a pitcher. Just saying.
They're not going to challenge that?
I think he was safe. So
how about this guy? Just got called up to AAA and pitched 4 innings already in the show. This is a guy a lot of people in the Reds organization really, really like. Salazar.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently got some pretty nasty stuff.
Man, there's a few things that I need to get fixed down in this basement of mine. One of them is what?
Sorry.
No, do it. Please do.
Finish. Well, who's your daddy? I was not anti call up Matt McClain. Did I not make that clear? I was like, call him up.
Well, you're always the
I just didn't think they were idiots for not.
You're just always you're always the defender, baby. You're always the defender of making sure that there's reasons as to why they haven't been called up yet. So sometimes people are going to take their jabs when they can. They're going to throw those little, whether they're fair or not, I don't know.
You know what? Hey, if he wouldn't have this seasoning, he would have came up and struggled.
Right, there you go. Perfect. They brought him up the perfect time.
The magical time. There's always a perfect time to call these kids up. It's the exact perfect spot.
Yeah. He brought him up again in Colorado, and it just he knew exactly when to bring him up, when he could hit a fly ball to right field, and it just happens to hit off Clyde's gloves and go for home runs.
Obviously. And hey, I tell you what, Ellie De La Cruz has had his best month in terms of patience at the plate at AAA. I think Ellie's close, but there's different things that these guys need to work on that they're tracking, and again, I think it'll be fine.
Who's your daddy? What's the drink of choice? If you're telling me that my swill water is not good enough, What exactly do you suggest? This game is over. Okay, just
let's not.
No,
let's not put that out there.
as a guy that believes in jinxes, this game is over. Okay, double play right here.
Oh, man. Oh, wow.
Dude, does he realize we have other people in the field? All right, it was supposed to be a double play. It wasn't one.
Big hustle there from Kitzner. All right.
I am freezing right now. I'm about to get a hoodie. God.
Need Trace to take a shot of Everclear on the stream. That's the first time I've heard the word Everclear in a decade.
Here we go. What was the answer, by the way? What was he saying? Tequila? I'm not drinking tequila, man.
Guys, we are middle-aged dads on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, come on, man.
You'd be drinking tequila.
Tequila.
Sheesh.
I think I'd go the reefer route before I went tequila.
Oh.
It's a good pitch, by the way. Who's your daddy said? Yeah. I mean, listen. Some people are cut out for it. Some people aren't. Some people some people can make it happen. Some people can't. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's in the cards. Sometimes it's not. You go to a little league and you realize that some kids probably are just a little more advanced than others at their age. It's either they got it or they don't. It's not a big deal either way.
It was a rough night at Little League tonight. They started the practice at 6:45, and these kids they were not cut out for a 6:45 preschoolers. I mean, whew.
Yeah.
Hey! How about that?
Oh, we win baseball game. Good job.
We won
I had already considered it over. Considered it done. Let's do a show.
Let's do a show.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the World Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Red win! Line to right field. Genius, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, welcome into a winning edition of Chatterbox Reds. 10-4. The Cincinnati Reds demolished the St. Louis Cardinals. I don't know how many hits we ended up with, Nick. I'm sure that you will get to that as we get through that box score recap, but it was a lot. And there's some other positive things to talk about. Ben Lively? Oh, we got to bring up the old Big Red machine again on this Big Red platoon. Ellie, number 1 prospect, and Reds MILB, as we'll double dip into the old farm system. But you know what? We don't have to dip into the farm system as much as we usually do, Nick, because the Reds won. There's some things to talk about. Your overall night probably went a little bit better than last night, I'd assume.
Yeah, pretty enjoyable night following the old Cincinnati Reds. They taken 2 out of 3 against a team that came in red hot to Cincinnati. So
They did.
This has been a lot of fun.
Are you a cigar guy? Like if the Reds get to a position where, they do something meaningful, do you do cigars? What is a celebratory thing for Nick Kirby?
A cigar for extreme celebrations. I'm not gonna casually, go smoke a cigar on the back deck, but okay. I mean, National League Central Division title, there'll be a cigar. Right. Hell, wild card, there'll be a cigar. Let's.
Is it wild to say? And it's not that I'm a straight-laced cat. Is it wild to say that I have not ever had a cigar? Not one time in my life. So I need to wait until it's very meaningful, which I don't know if a Central Division championship. I actually think that's what I got to do. Otherwise, I might never smoke a cigar. And not to get too crazy, but you know what I'm saying? Got to be careful how far I take it.
Let's do playoff berth. Let's just do playoff berth.
All right, fair enough. Playoff berths when I will smoke my first cigar in life. What do you think about that? All right,
we'll do it live. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live
on our back patios.
No, I'll do it live right here on the set, right on the air. Box score recap. I know that I usually ask you how long it is. There's probably a decent amount of length to it, and or not, just based off the fact that if you're going to go through every scoring play, there's a lot. So you have your best effort at it, and I'll fill in any holes that you leave, which will probably be none.
I try to clean it up a little bit, not make it too lengthy, but still informative. So we'll see how this goes. All right, top of the first, Ben Lively. He danced around trouble, but he did strike out Wilson Contreras with 2 runners on to pitch a scoreless first. Bottom of the first, Jonathan India leadoff walk. Spencer Steer singled to the right fielder. Jonathan India ran hard, looking to go first to third, and Cards right fielder Oscar Mercado misplayed the ball because of putting India and Steer on second and third. Tyler Stevenson drove both runners home with a single up the middle. 2-0 Reds. Senzel singled, and then with 2 outs, Kevin Newman smoked a double off the wall, 104.4 off the bat to make it 4-0 Cincinnati. Bottom of the third, Reds added another run on an RBI hit from Kevin Newman to put the Reds up 5-0. Cardinals got 1 back in the fourth on a solo home run, but the Reds got that run right back on a play that you'll probably see around Major League Baseball. Matt McLain homered on a ball that bounced off the glove of Oscar Mercado into the Sun Moon deck.
It was a tough play. It was a tough play.
Tough night for Mercado, though. He probably doesn't have a whole lot of friends in St. Louis. I'd love to see their tweets right now. Bottom of the sixth, Stuart Fairchild, RBI double, made it 8-2. Bottom of the seventh, Spencer Steer got his 4th hit of the night, driving in India. McLain put the Reds up 10-2. And then on the night, Ben Lively, the magic just lived on. Allowed just 2 runs, both solo home runs over 6 innings pitched. Lively struck out 8 batters and threw 103 pitches. What an incredible start to his rebirth Reds career for Ben Lively. Kevin Herget, nice job tonight, threw 2 shutout innings. Eduardo Salazar made his debut. Did struggle a little bit, but nonetheless was able to close the door on the Cardinals. Your Cincinnati Reds win 10-4. Reds have won 2 of the first 3 games of the series against the Cardinals. Team that came into Cincinnati 11-3 in their last 14 games.
Yeah, you hate to see it. I mean, I can't believe that baseball city in St. Louis has a team that's this bad. But here we are. And, it's interesting because the Reds are in a position now where if they can get lucky, and I call it luck because I don't know if this team's good enough to do what I'm going to say that I'm going to ask them to do. But if they can win every baseball game from now, hear me out, through Memorial Day. Now, that's a lot. It's asking a lot, I know. If we can get lucky and just find a way to win, I think that's 4 in a row, then I'm gonna be back. I'm back to talking playoff baseball again. But for now, I'm just happy about a few things. We'll get into them. But don't think that I didn't look at the standings after tonight. Just saying. Because I did. Which is meaningful baseball. That's all I'm saying. We're getting closer to the All-Star break. And if I'm looking at the standings at the All-Star break, or anywhere near the All-Star break, I'm actually going to be thrilled to death. What are you, reading the chat?
I don't know. I don't want to get into this. Like
we don't need to get into it. I'm just throwing out the fact that I'm still hanging around. I'm still hanging around, wondering if this thing has a chance to maybe get crazy. This division's absolutely trash. Have you looked at this division? Garbage. The Pittsburgh Pirates are right now, they're thinking to themselves that they're going to the postseason. The Pirates. The Chicago Cubs. Awful. The Cardinals. Well, we've watched them tonight. And you got your Redlegs who, hey, I know we're below all those teams, but, we haven't hit our stride yet. We got a couple guys down there at the lower levels that might be able to help us too. I'm just saying. But go ahead.
We're tied with the Cardinals right now. Tied in the standings.
We are. You're right. We gave in a game. We're both 5.5 back.
Both 6 back. Technically, the Cardinals are 0.002 percentage points ahead of the Reds.
6 back. You're right.
They're tied in the games back column,
which is all that matters.
Reds have less losses. Suckers.
That's why they're both 6 games back. It's because there's one team's got more wins and then one team's got more losses. But that's
but I'd rather be the team that has less losses, right? I mean, that's you don't want to be the team with more losses. That's embarrassing.
It's fair. That means that you're begging for the other team to have to lose versus you just win. All right, let's get into it. Ben Lively, your overall thoughts on him. To be frank with you, I thought that I don't have a ton of thoughts on him. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but he's done a good job. I'm not going to not trying to be negative. I'm just not going to put a ton of stock into it, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, it was impressive. He struck out 8 batters in each of his first 2 starts. Did not see that coming. He's only striking out over 5 batters per 9 down at AAA. Tonight he was awesome. Only allowed 4 hard hit balls, got 14 swing and misses. I don't think Ben Lively is a part of the future, but the guy is pitching his tail off right now. And in a time where Graham Ashcraft is really struggling, Hunter Green's been inconsistent. Luke Weaver hasn't been able to put full starts together. Ben Lively has stepped up and been an absolute breath of fresh air. So, yeah, I mean, we don't need to, go over the moon with, hyping this guy up for the future or anything, but he's pitched great and deserves a lot of credit for what he's done.
I'm just the chat, man. They're on a whole nother level, man. They just rip our ass left and right.
I don't even look anymore.
They're all over us, man. I mean, I'm just fun. I just find things funny. Alex Wallace said, "Don't worry, just wait. Someone will get hurt." Kirby. All right. Well, maybe. I don't know. These guys, I'll tell you what, the most non-injury prone team I've ever seen outside the starting pitchers. All right. Big Red Platoon. Where are you going with this? Let me hear this one.
This is just a cute way to talk about the offense. We only had 1 spot in the J bar. There's 80 guys that had 2 hits tonight, so I just decided to call it the Big Red Platoon since everyone hates the platoon lineups. And hey, David Bell's platoon put up 10 runs tonight. So boom. How about that?
David Bell, give him all the credit in the world. I think he deserves to get credit when credit is due. I'll give him credit for running Kevin Newman out there in back-to-back games. Kevin Newman has delivered in both games. And I don't know how long that's going to continue for. I don't know if he's able to kind of keep juggling this lineup around and getting the most out of it. He's getting closer to getting me over that finale in Oakland. But other than that, I think we're in a position now where Tyler Stevenson's starting to look a little bit more like himself again. The ball that he hit to right field down the line, that looked like Tyler. The ball he hit to center field, I know it was a fly out, but he was on time and he made a good swing. And that's where, I know we all would hope to think that Tyler would be strong enough and or have enough bat speed or whatever term you'd like to use to be able to hit that ball. That ball would be a home run, right? Like a power hitter hits a ball that well, it doesn't get caught at the warning track. It's 10 feet over the fence. I don't want to try to make a guy feel like he has to be something that he's not, because ultimately I think it ends up making him just a worse player in general. There's not many guys that can change who they are and actually be successful at it, you know? Like, those are really special guys. Joey Votto is one of the few guys I could say, like, okay, he decided he wanted to hit for more power, and he kind of did that. Now, I'm not saying he turned into Barry Bonds, which I would argue Barry Bonds was Barry Bonds for other reasons. But yeah, I don't know. Do you think that there's anything to the fact that I don't want to say they said something to Tyler, and at some point Tyler had to turn it around. But he looked more like himself tonight. I don't know if you got to see every at bat, but I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I missed part of the game, but actually went back and watched all of his at bats because I saw on StatCast that had 3 hard hit balls tonight, and that ball that you were talking about, that was a barrel,
right?
The 400-foot fly out. Yeah, if you hit a barrel, that's a good thing. You hit the best players in the sport hit a ton of barrels. So, yeah. I think Tyler probably, I don't know, maybe he's tried to sell it for a little bit more power. Honestly, it may not even be the Reds. I mean, these guys know that if they hit a couple more home runs, they're going to increase their contract, their value. So
sure,
it could have been other voices that have been saying that to him. I think Tyler's at his best when he's just trying to hit line drives.
I agree.
And I think he's better when the ball just accidentally goes over the fence, which it'll happen in Great American Ballpark if you're just trying to hit line drives. So that's what it looked like tonight, that it was more of that Tyler Stevenson that we've known. Is that player going to be good enough to be like a major league DH? Probably not, but it can be a really, really darn good catcher and a good player if he does end up having to, move to other positions or whatnot. But yeah, really, really good night for him. That was I think probably the best out of a night where, like I said, Reds scored 5 runs for a third straight night and season high 18 hits. 18 hits.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Yep, it is. It's a lot. And unfortunately, there's one guy that got left out of the party. We'll get to him in a minute. I do want to talk about him for a moment, and that is Barrero. And I don't want to spend a ton of time on Barrero, but before I get to him, the one thing I wanted to finish up on with Tyler Stevenson is this. I think Tyler, depending on how you formulate your lineup and what you're looking for, I think Tyler could be a serviceable DH if he hits at the production level in which is what he did for the past few years. And I get this year he struggled. I'm not suggesting by any means this year that's the Tyler Stevenson that you want in the DH role. But, Nick, I know DH has traditionally been for a big bopper, a guy that's going to kind of be an absolute nightmare in the field in regards to trying to figure out where you would put them, but they can hit so damn well that that's a perfect solution as the DH. I don't know if it always has to be that. I think that it makes it easy to do that when you got, Kyle Schwarbers of the world, or I don't know who the slob is for the New York Mets, but I would assume he's a DH. There's no way that guy plays a position.
Vogelback?
Yeah, there's no way that maybe he does and he does it well, but if he does, I'll be shocked. But anyway, I
got one more thought on Stevenson. Tyler could end up sliding it be unconventional, but Tyler could almost slide into like a backup catcher role that plays DH the other times, where maybe, like, let's say Luke Malley, the Reds re-sign him next year, and he's your starting catcher, and Tyler Stevenson is your backup catcher. You find 2 starters that Stevenson works well with, so you're not having him behind the plate all the time. Obviously, the goal would be for him to continue to improve and become a major league catcher. But if that doesn't happen, it is a possibility that you could have him as like a backup catcher. A guy that comes to mind on this is Carlos Santana. He kind of did that role, and he ended up eventually kind of becoming just a first base DH. But I believe the Indians at the time, they would use him as the backup catcher. But that was more just because a way to get him in the lineup as a bat. And that could keep you, when you're going to your backup catcher, you're having a really good offensive player at that position. So that's just maybe a different way to use it, unconventional, but it could work.
Yeah. No, I think There's options. CES is probably the biggest one that I would say that's the drawback in regards to the DH, because it feels like right now that's where this is headed for him, based off of what we have in the pipeline. And Spencer Steer is starting to put himself in a position where he's not going away. 4 hits tonight, and he looks like a big league hitter, and he's playing first base at a relatively high level. I'm not saying he's playing it perfectly. I thought he looked fantastic at third base until we moved him over there to first. There's an adjustment period there that he probably took some time to get used to try to play first base. And, Senzel, what do we do with him? There's just a lot of question marks, right? And I don't know where some of them may get answered because of injury. Some of them are going to get answered because of Nick Krall making some moves that we probably have never see coming. And then on top of that, production is probably going to drop off from some of these guys that we think that might be an everyday player or a platoon player for this team. I'm not trying to be pessimistic by any means. I hope they all do great and we have problems, but whether it be Senzel or whether it be Barrero or whether it be maybe Steer, maybe it's McLean. And then again, I know these probably aren't the answer, but somebody's probably not going to play well to where it makes it easier decision. Let's get into Barrero for just a second, though. I am so lost as to what he's doing at the plate that I just don't, based off his approach right now, and I'm not just saying it because he didn't get a hit tonight. He could have gone 3 for 4 tonight. I really would have said the same thing. He's got this 2-toe tap situation going on, and it looks so uncomfortable, and it looks horrible. He's not on time. I don't want to say I'm out on him because that'd be a really strong statement for a guy that's been a positive supporter of Barrero. But he just doesn't look like he fits. He doesn't look like and again, like you watch Matt McLean, you watch Spencer Steer, they look different at the plate, right? Like when Tyler Stevenson came up, Nick, it didn't take long for you to be like, damn, he has a really good approach. He lays off close pitches, he swings at strikes, which oddly enough, as crazy as this sounds, that's what most of being a big league hitter is really having pitch recognition and knowing when to be aggressive and knowing when you need to, try to cut down and go the other way with the pitch or whatever it may be. And Barrero looks lost. I mean, he really does. And I hate that, but I don't know. I don't want to say I'm out on him, but I'm getting close.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely got to pick it up. I still like running him out there right now, though, especially batting ninth. When you can get him in the lineup while he's up here. He probably is the odd man out, but that decision doesn't need to be made yet until the Reds determine that Ellie's it's the right time to call him up. I think you just keep running him out there, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's just a challenging player because he has made improvements this year. He's not nearly as bad as he was last year, but he's still not really all that close either at the same time. So he's kind of like stuck in this almost no man's land, it feels like to me. But Stuart Fairchild, got to mention him tonight. 3 hits. How about that?
Listen, everyone had hits. The only person that didn't have hits is Jose Barrero.
That's true. Did I say last night, Trace? We were talking about Fairchild's OPS, and I said he was 1 home run away from getting it up. It's up to 698 now, right, after just a 3-hit night.
I mean, Newman's hitting like 260 or something crazy. I mean, listen, these guys you get hot, you only have 90 or 100 plate appearances or at bats. It's bound to skyrocket. But go ahead.
McLean's at 972.
Yeah,
2 days ago, we were talking about this guy was struggling. We weren't.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say we were. But look, man, fans are going to fan. There's nothing wrong with that. I think sometimes it's fun. Let fans be fans. Just because some people would like to be relatively even-keeled or level-headed doesn't mean we all should be. I think that there's room for both. You have anything to add to that, or are you good?
Well, I'm good. I wasn't like trying to poke fun at anyone. I thought it's just wild to see we're not even a June yet. It's just wild to see like these overall numbers, how much they fluctuate on a night-to-night basis, and how different a player could feel after 2 good games.
Besides Will Myers, yeah.
Besides Will Myers, weird that he got the night off against the lefty.
Because
he was on a show with Todd Frazier today too.
Unless they're putting it on a tee, he should get the night off, Nick. And one would argue tonight they came close to putting it on a tee.
Yeah. Baseball. Matt's come in dominating the Reds, like I said last night. So good night for the Reds, though.
It was a great night for the Reds. We won a baseball game 10-4, excuse me, and we'll keep it moving. All right, you have Ellie number 1 prospect on here. What the ESPN put their rankings out now, or what's this about? He's been the number 1 prospect.
Yeah, well, he's officially number 1 on ESPN. Obviously, just baseball. Our guy Arm Layton, who's been ahead of literally everyone.
Do they just copy off him at this point? Do you think they do that?
I don't know, but my guy keeps looking pretty good. He was the first one to have Ellie number 1. He was, I think, the only one that had Matt McLean in the top 100 at the beginning of the year. No one else did. But yeah, I mean, Ellie was number 1. I mean, I just it doesn't mean anything, but being the number 1 prospect on ESPN.com at the same time does kind of add a little bit of an extra, juice to the whole Ellie mania a little bit. So I don't know, just cool to see that a national outlet as big as ESPN is ranking him number 1. I think that's exciting.
Well, I don't know how much longer he needs to go down there in Louisville and figure out whatever he needs to figure out, but hopefully he figures it out soon so he can come up and play. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, he probably needs to learn how to hit the ball harder, or throw the ball across the diamond a little harder, or field it a little bit better. One of those things. Not sure which it is. Your thoughts?
Like I said before we went on, he's drastically improved his walk rate over the last month. I'm assuming the fact that it's jumped so high, that was probably something the Reds had emphasized, and they wanted him to work on that before they called him up. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Christian Encarnacion-Strand, we'll get to in a minute. His walk rate's really, really bad. He's only has a couple walks. I think he's kind of getting to the point where you're gonna have to call him up, and he's gonna have to struggle up here, in order to improve that. But
what is his? This is where I'm not in the analytical game. So, and I'm sure there's other people out there that are the same way as I am. What is? And you can take your time and look this up. If I don't expect you to know these types of things off your top of your head, but what is his walk rate?
It's
and what does it need to be? And secondly to that, is a walk rate, to be clear, is just the percentage of time that you walk based off of your plate appearances?
He's only walked 3 times.
Okay, hear me out. I'm asking the basic question, that is, what is a walk rate? It is the percentage of times that you walk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, per plate appearance, not at bat.
Per plate appearance, not at bat, because at bat would obviously make that null void because you don't get an at bat.
Big league average is about 7%.
Okay.
Give and take on, depending on the year, but it's normally around 7%.
Is his strikeout rate, I'm asking a question, is his strikeout rate higher than the traditional average?
A little bit. 26.7, I think.
Okay.
I think big leagues is around 20. I can look that up, though.
Is there any chance in the world that it just so happens that the guy that just mashes baseballs all over the place, his walk rate's down a little bit because instead of walking, he just smashes baseballs? And we can live with the fact that instead of him walking 4 extra times this month to get his walk rate up 10%, to make us feel a little bit better, instead of those 4 times of walking, he hit them 460 fucking feet. So that actually worked out a little bit better for the Reds. It's like we're going to trade a few of those walks for home runs, and it's a wash. We'll call it even. A deal. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm hoping we come to. Does he strike out a lot? Maybe, but I can come show you some guys that strike out a lot already too on this team. And if we're going to treat it like it's not, again, we're headed to the playoffs, then I'm ready to get these guys up here and let them start to learn and get their feet wet. Matt McLain has been a beautiful addition to this baseball team. I know it's only been a few games, but when was the last time we started complaining about the shortstop not being able to make a play? It stopped when he came up. I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to hold out hope. I'm going to be pissed if we bring up Ellie and CES. And you can make fun of it all you want. I'm just saying I will be a little upset if we decide to try to be cute and act like these guys need to do stuff when we all know they don't need to. They're not learning a damn thing in Louisville that they can't learn in Cincinnati. The only explanation that I could understand is that we don't think they're ready to help us win baseball games for the Cincinnati Reds. And on top of that, we think they will struggle significantly. I can't buy into the fact that they're going to struggle significantly. I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm just hopeful. I'm just hopeful that it doesn't require them to play unbelievable for them to come up and at least get their feet wet. If guys like Kevin Newman don't keep playing well, if Will Myers can't figure it out, if something happens to Nick Senzel. I'm not suggesting they need to come up tomorrow, Nick. I just don't want us to get into this like, what would be the right term to use? Like you're smarter than everybody else because you're just holding them down there because you want to play it super safe instead of just saying, all right, we're going to bring them up. I don't know.
On Christian Encarnacion's trainer, I don't really think that you're kind of getting to a point where I'm not sure he's going to make the adjustment to AAA, and he's just going to keep crushing it and be called up. Ellie has made significant improvements with his walk rate, so I think there has been some benefit to him. People can laugh at that all they want, but his walk rate has increased, and I don't know if that happens at the major league level. But Christian Encarnacion Strand has walked in 2.5% of his plate appearances at AAA. Mm-hmm. Okay, there are 300 and something qualified players in baseball. The lowest walk rate is 2.9%. So he would have the single worst walk rate in Major League Baseball. So I think there's some reason to be a little bit cautious with him, that you're not calling him up and he's just going to, be completely, overmatched at the plate where he's able to get away with this at AAA and he might not be able to in the show. But I agree, there might be a point where he's just going to have to learn that at the major league level because he's not going to learn that at AAA because the guy's hitting everything, 400 feet at AAA.
Yeah. All right, a couple questions from the chat I see really quickly. One, where was it at? I'll get to it in a second once I find it. One was asking where Ellie would come up if he were to come up and play. Evan's going to be upset if Ellie plays third base. I think that you could play Ellie at third base right now. I think you could also say he could play shortstop and move McLain to third base. I don't care. I mean, I haven't seen Ellie play enough for me to say, no, McLain's playing good enough at shortstop. Keep him there. Ellie might be, the best defensive shortstop in the history of baseball for all I know. And so to be fair, I don't know. He's playing the left side of the infield, and we'll keep it moving. How about that? That was the question I wanted to get to on your end. Someone brought up, and I'll get to their name once I find it, but they said, Bronco said he needs to figure out his glove more, which he's referencing CES. I mean, I understand that logic. However, I don't think his glove's a thing at the major league level. Like right now, it's not. We're not going to ask him to play a position. I think he's going to spot start at first base and he'll DH.
You haven't played him a lot at third base though in the minor leagues. I never really saw him as being like a third base.
If they're playing him at third base a lot, does that not speak volumes to what they plan to do in the infield? Without getting into this all again.
Yeah, well, he did play first base the last 2 days entering today, but he had played like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 7 out of 8 games at third base. He's been playing mostly third base of late.
Who's your daddy saying he could have been being funny? And he was actually talking about Ellie instead of CES, which maybe, who knows? Chat's hard to keep up with sometimes on your guys' inside jokes in your humor, but go ahead.
Well, on Ellie, there was actually a SIS Baseball had a tweet earlier today about Ellie De La Cruz, and we don't get a whole lot of good defensive data on minor league baseball. Like fielding percentages is obviously could be very biased in terms of evaluating these players. But this tweet from SIS, they I guess rate defensive runs saved in the minor leagues, and actually had Ellie De La Cruz at 200. At 2 defensive runs saved, which they pointed out most minor league shortstops, according to their model, have negative defensive runs saved, and point out that he was good versus balls to his left, good on double plays. So that's the actual quantitative data that says that he's really good. I want to see Ellie get every chance to play shortstop in the big leagues. I just think you have to give him a chance. And that could be a split situation where maybe him and McLean split a little bit of time there. Maybe they DH a little bit. And that's where we also kind of get into there can only be one DH, and we've got a whole bunch of guys that we want to DH. So that's also kind of an interesting kind of, I guess, conundrum here. But I think you probably see them split time, but I want to see Ellie get every opportunity to play shortstop. And I know McLean's been great, and that's what kind of makes this whole situation weird, which is just how close Ellie is behind him. That McLean's come up and played really well at this position. Now, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't know. They'll figure that out. As I've said before, I'm not too overly concerned about what they're going to do on the left side of the infield. I'm looking at some of these guys when you compare them to the rest of the league in regards to just what they do at the plate. And Senzel's a solid player, man. He's a solid player. There's no doubt about it. But I also, and I seen a comment in the chat, Crunky said, I don't really like the idea of getting rid of India based off of his leadership, who he is for the team, what he brings, all the intangibles, as they say. And I would just warn everybody by saying that's the things that get what I would call mediocre or poor front office decision makers in trouble. You start buying into the fact that there's all these things that other guys bring to the table that make a huge difference. I think they do make a difference. I'm not being naive in saying that Jonathan India isn't worth a little bit extra for your team based off of his leadership or what, quote unquote, his style or what he brings to the team. However, what you do on the field is really what matters the most. And Jonathan India, like it or not, is not like a superstar. I guess what I'm getting at. He is a good player. But let's not get wrapped up in the fact that he's more than what he really is. And that goes for everybody. This isn't just Jonathan. This is everybody. It's the same with Stevenson, same day with Friedel, whether we come to love Friedel, whether we come to love Steer, whether we come to love McLean, all of these guys. At some point, you just take it for face value for who they are. Because if you don't, my concern is you hold on to guys too long and you don't get value out of them, and you just assume that that these intangibles are what's going to get them over the hump, and it hasn't got them over the hump. I'm trying to think of guys off the top of my head right now that you could just say that that's without question the case. And I know Scooter Jeanette comes to mind for me personally because it's like, listen, that guy came on the scene, was hotter than a firecracker. He's a fan favorite. The Ryan Friedels of the world, RIP. But these guys that win the hearts and fans of Cincinnati, I just hope it doesn't affect the decision making in the front office. I don't think it will, but man, I bet it can. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think it could kind of affect that. No? Your thoughts?
I think it has in the past. I don't think there's any question about that. And I think that That's been my biggest criticism of ownership, has been that I think there was a lot, and there's been a lot of reports that was the case with guys like Billy Hamilton and Jay Bruce and situations like that. But at least over the last year and a half or whatever it's been, it seems like it's been more of this cutthroat management, which is what the Reds have to do. They cannot be playing favorites. They have to be doing what's best for the organization, and they have to make those decisions that at times will suck. Like trading Luis Castillo sucked, but I fully believe that was the right move for the Reds long term. It certainly was the right move to trade Tyler Mahle. I don't think there's any debate about that at this point. And even Jesse Winker and even Suarez is starting to look like a pretty good deal. So I don't have too much of a concern about that at this point, but I do also get what you're saying, where people who might not have as much optimism as me, there's reasons why, because they haven't in the past.
Yeah, I understand. Jonathan and his OPS plus is 110, right? Give me another second baseman off the top of your head.
Ozzy Albies.
Ozzy Albies is a 108 OPS plus this year. So,
I think he was hurt, though. I probably gave you a bad example.
Well, who's the second baseman for the Brewers? I'll dig it up.
They traded Colton Wong. Who is their second baseman? I should know this. Luis Urias is hurt.
This is a good example, then. Taking way too long for my internet to load up here.
Bryce
Chat's going to be
Terang.
way before.
No wonder I didn't know who it was.
All right. Terang. How you spell it?
Turang.
Okay.
He's gonna be a bad example.
So this guy, this is his rookie year. So this is a bad example. But I mean, he's awful. But he's a rookie, so he's also 23. Jonathan India was what, a year older than that when he was a rookie. But nonetheless, I guess my point is I just don't want to get into this notion that we can't move people, regardless of who they are. All right, Reds MILB. While you do that, I'm going to look up some things that are fun.
One question kind of goes with that Ellie topic that I did want to get to. Asked it on Twitter. If you guys ever do have a question, ask us on Twitter, because sometimes it's a lot easier for us to see it there before the game than kind of dig it through Vossler chat comments. But Reds Daily 4 was saying, before this year, who was the most exciting Reds prospect that you were ready to see? He said that his top three were Jay Bruce, Aroldis Chapman, Billy Hamilton. I'll preface this and say, when Jay Bruce came up, I was actually at the debut, but I was not a diehard Reds fan at that point, so I can't really even say that about him. Billy Hamilton was really exciting, but I would say it was actually probably Aroldis Chapman for me. Just when he came up, there was just such an energy and buzz about him. And I know he was a prospect for like such a short period that I don't know. I guess probably Nick Senzel other than that, though. You have any thoughts on that, Trace?
No, I'm looking up stats, so I wasn't even really listening. I hate to say that, but
who is your prospect that you were most excited about
this year
on the Reds? No. Ever, yeah.
I mean, Jay Bruce is the easy answer. I think that's the answer for me. But I really have, like I said, my prospects that I've been able to be excited about has been really limited. There's not been a ton of guys that have been super, super high ceiling prospects. I really wasn't that high on Billy Hamilton from the start. I know that's easier said than done on the back end of someone's career, but the speed thing is and in my opinion, speed is always a little overrated if that's the first thing you bring up about guys. Ellie's so special because that's not even no one brings up his speed at all, and he just happens to be just as fast as Billy Hamilton, basically. So it's I don't know, you can't steal first base. Until you can't steal first base, then speed is what it is. But I'm looking forward to CES out of all these guys the most. I know that Ellie's special, but for me, it would just be really cool to have a guy that hits. And I know I'm probably being a little unrealistic when I say this, but I think it'd be really cool to have a guy that could hit 40, 45, maybe 50 home runs in a season. And I think CES could possibly do that just because he's got raw power. He mishits balls and they go 400 feet, Like that's the difference. That's my main thing with CES that I love the most. It's not that the guy hits a bunch of home runs. It's that the guy hits home runs when he mishits baseballs, which basically means it's not like he's playing perfect. He's not barreling balls up perfectly to hit a home run. He mishits a ball 370 feet down the left field line. It's a home run. For most guys, it's 310 feet, gets caught, a few feet in front of the warning track. That's why I love CES, and I'm looking forward to CES. And yeah, I get the whole walk rate. I get that can be worrisome. I also get the concept that he might strike out more than most would like, but I'll take the chance of a guy that comes up there every time he comes up, and damn well there's a pretty good likelihood that you're going to be a little worried that he's probably going to hit one out of the ballpark. So,
yeah, I do think Ellie De La Cruz, and I don't think this is hyperbole, he's going to be the most exciting prospect ever called up by the Reds. And some of it is also just the access that we have to these minor leaguers that, weren't around when guys like Eric Davis came up. But I don't think it's a stretch at all to say he's the most exciting player when he makes his debut, which we hope is sooner rather than later.
Hey, really quickly, we never do this, and there's people that are in the chat that do this, which is absolutely ridiculous that people in the chat who have nothing to do with Chatterbox Sports and or Chatterbox Reds actually implore people to like the stream more than we do. So, having said that, please like the stream. We're at 27. If we can get to 35, then we'd be really doing it. We get to 40 plus, then that's real winning. Anything else left from Reds MILB that you want to get to that you think's of note?
Oh, I got a whole rundown. Are you ready?
I'm born ready.
All right. We got a couple finals already. Louisville, 8-4 winners over Syracuse. Bats proved to 23-23 on the season. Andrew Abbott, first time that he's pitched more than 5 innings, went 6 1/3, 2 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts, 1 home run. Abbott only allowed 3 hard hit balls today and got 21 swing and misses. That was 46% of the swings were swing and misses. Abbott now with a 2.49 ERA in 47 innings with 82 strikeouts. Really impressive. Ellie De La Cruz, 1 for 3, double, walk, 2 stolen bases. CES hit his 11th home run of the year, also a double. Home run at 398 feet, 102 off the bat. Didn't walk, though. Will Benson, 2 for 6 with 2 doubles. Both of Benson's doubles were 113 miles an hour, X velocity. And the only downer of the day, Fernando Cruz in his second rehab outing did not pitch well, gave up 3 runs in his inning of work. Other one that went final, Dayton 4-1 winners over South Bend. The Dragons, they ended their 3-game losing streak. They're 18-23 on the season. Chase Petty pitched really well. 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. Chase Petty with a ERA of .75 through his first 3 starts of the season. Austin Hendrick doubled, and the double was actually against the number 66 ranked prospect in baseball, Cade Horton. A couple other scores that are in action. Chattanooga's tied 4-4 with Rocket City. Noelvi Marte, 1 for 5 in this game. Christian Rowe got the start, kind of a mixed start, 5 innings, 4 runs. did strike out 8. And then Daytona, they lost 8-4. Unfortunate note from this game, Carlos Jorge left the game after getting hit by a pitch in his first plate appearance, but Cam Collier had 2 hits in this game tonight. Reds MLB, presented by Betfred Sportsbook.
Yeah, we also got, in that span of time, we're up to 37 likes, so that is very much appreciated. Maybe it's more than that based off of someone said 38 in the chat. I see 37 on my screen, so that's what I'm going to go with. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less. Who knows? Looks like player formerly known as Mouse Cop has his hand raised. If he has a question, let it rip. Otherwise, we got other things to do on this stream. One is dunk a basketball, as we know. The second thing is to let everybody know some programming notes. So Nick is going to be, I'm not sure how to say it.
In a wedding.
He's going to be doing something in a wedding. I don't know if he's got to be in the wedding. I don't know. He's definitely not getting married in the wedding. I'm not sure if he knows these people, but nonetheless, he's out. Okay. He can't do the show because he's got to go to a wedding. He's got to do all these things. He's got important stuff. I'm not. I don't have anything important to do. Okay, so I'm coming, probably hard in the paint. No Nick, that means we can just let the hair down. You know what I'm saying? Just let it rip. So be prepared. I might take calls. I might. I gotta figure out how to take calls. In fact, there's a good chance I do take calls. I got an opportunity to take calls on this mixer that I have here. I got to get a phone that's not my phone number personally. That way, you know, I got it. That. To be fair, chat, I got to do that. I can't have my cell phone as the call-in number. But maybe we'll take some calls. We'll have some fun. We'll have as much fun as we can. Then Nick will come back and we'll do all professional stuff again. But other than that, the Reds play an early game tomorrow. I am not going to go to it, but Nick's going to tell you who the starters are, because that's his job. And there's probably a good chance that I'm going to mispronounce someone's name and make an ass myself again. So go ahead, Nick.
All right. Luke Weaver up against Miles Michaelis. Interesting. This will be Luke Weaver's first career appearance against the Cardinals, the team that drafted him and brought him up. So he was the top prospect with the Cardinals. So interesting to see that for Weaver, who has pitched well at times, just hasn't been able to put a whole lot of good starts, full starts, complete starts together. Miles Michaelis, Reds have had a lot of success. He's got a 5.47 career ERA and 14 starts against the Reds. Obviously, that doesn't always mean a whole lot since the guy pitching today had dominated the Reds. But nonetheless, Stuart Fairchild has a home run. TJ Friedel has a home run. Jonathan India has 2 home runs. Nick Senzel has 2 home runs against Michaelis. Got to watch out for Luke Weaver. Nolan Arenado, 5 for 10 with 2 home runs. Reds and Cardinals, 12:35 tomorrow.
Where can you watch it?
You can actually watch this game on Bally Sports Ohio, and if you're out of the market, you can watch this game on the MLB Network. You got 2 options tomorrow.
Beautiful. Arenado, really quickly, want to make a quick note on him. I had never seen him struggle so much defensively than he did tonight. The one ball that he played, I don't know what the hell he was doing. I mean, he basically handed Jonathan India a hit. He backpedaling in the middle of left field to make a throw. I don't know what the hell that was about, but that's here nor there. All right. Here's what we're going to do. This chat is off the rails. It was on the rails, heading down the track, and now we've proceeded to fall off the rails. So since we're off the rails, I'm going to try something new. Why not? And hopefully it works out. If it doesn't, then it doesn't, and we'll try it again. All right? So, that being said, let's start the outro music. I'm going to do my best. Nick, if I rip this off the wall and or break my leg trying to do this, throw the screen up. I'll figure it out. But more importantly, just know I will be back better than ever tomorrow. All right? Ready? Break. Some people will say this is extreme athleticism. I'm just going to say it's nothing more than pure brain. Big brain science right here. Ready? I bet you didn't see that coming. I bet you didn't see it coming. Just like Will Myers. Hope we don't see him coming tomorrow again. 10 runs, keep him on the bench.